Only encourage you to do very much.
All right, good morning, e-learners.
Yeah. Let's do it.
You spelled it wrong.
There's a back to it.
I don't read kids' notes. Too much silliness.
I do.
Because you're a kid.
I'm not a kid. I'm a teenager. You're a teenager? I am.
Okay, what defines a kid then?
13 counts. 13 still counts as a kid.
All right, quiet, please. Go ahead and get out your homework. Okay, that was the first time. Second time, quiet, please. Get out your homework. Quiet, please. That's the third time. So, we did yesterday's class, we said, hey, this is pretty easy. Any questions on the homework? All right, let's go over this real quick. 1 through 25, you were supposed to skip 18, and we figured out we skipped 18 because, anybody look at it? Because there's two numbers that are exactly the same, so you weren't even given that option of an equal symbol. All right. Number 1, look at me, please. It is greater than. All right. Number 2 is equal. Number 3 is also greater than. Number 4 is also greater than. Finally, number 5 is less than. Number 6 is also less than. Number 7 is equal. Number 8 is greater than, and number 9 is greater than. Now, 10, 11, it said, what's the winning time? Now, they don't really tell you. I'll just say it depends upon the sport. Sometimes the lowest score is good. Sometimes the lowest score is bad. In football, the lowest score is in golf, the lowest score is in running, the lowest time is good. So clearly, I would not put that question on a test because it would require you to know that in running, the lowest time is the best time. Right? However, in long jump, the lowest score is bad. So yeah, you got to know the sport. All right, all that the lowest score there would be answer B for number 10. B. That was 39.17 or 39 1700ths. Number 11, the answer is A, or 46 1600ths. Let's see. In diving and skating competition, the highest score wins. So we're looking for the highest number for 12 and 13. So at number 12, the answer is B, 607 and 5100ths, and 13 and C, 193 and 8/10. All right, order from least to greatest, 14 through 19. We'll skip 18. 14 should be 8 and 2300ths, 8 and 3/10, 8 and 3200ths. 15, 3 and 1200ths, 3 and 1900ths. You're supposed to be looking at your homework, Jaden. 3 and 2100ths. I said homework. 16, 4 and 900ths, 4 and 3900ths, 4 and 90, or 4 and 9/10, sorry. 17, 6, 6 and 800ths, 6 and 8/10. And I said skip 18. 19, 532 and 7800ths, 532 882 thousandths, and 532 and 9/10. And then we get to 20. Actually, 20 through 25, I got a grade because there's an infinite number of answers for all of those. And that is all she wrote. All right. Make sure your names are on them. Collect. Pass out. Bless you. Now go use some hand sanitizer. All right. Everyone else, look at the board, please. Everyone else, mouths closed. Look at the board, please. Time out. Time out. Thank you. So on the board, calendar, we have a quiz on Monday. Monday's quiz will be the following. Can you put numbers in from least to greatest? Yes or no? Can you determine using inequality or equal sign which number is bigger, smaller, or the same? Yeah. Can you write a decimal number with words? Can you write a decimal number if I give you the words? Okay, any questions? That's what's on the quiz. I'll say that one more time. I'll give you a decimal number. You need to write it with words correctly. Spelling doesn't count. I will give you words. You have to write the decimal number. I will give you decimal numbers or whole numbers. You have to compare them using greater than, less than, equal. And lastly, can you put numbers from least to greatest? Questions on the test or quiz? Yes. You also quizzes. Okay. The stuff that we do today, are you listening? The stuff we do today is not on the quiz. The stuff we're doing today is this. Notice the instructions once again. When you get through 17 or 24, they want you to do 3 things. I don't want you to do the 3 things. I just want you to round the numbers. So 17 through 24, you're just rounding the numbers. You're not doing A and B. On my desk. Did you get one of these?
Yes, I did. I got one.
Okay. All right, this can be done silently. Thank you. Just give it to me at the end of class. All right, we good?
No.
You can copy yours from right there. All right, here we go. So, how many people, and I don't want you to raise your hand if you're like, well, I sort of kind of remember. How many people definitively, no doubt in your mind, can round numbers right now? So notice, look around. It's maybe a third to a half of the people. So we're going to do this full class. Full class. Please call that away, Jay. We'll get it at the very end of class. We're going to do the full class. Yes, you're going to do it all. You're going to refresh your memory on rounding. Even those of you that admit that you know what you're doing, let's just make sure that's true. I will say this as a math teacher. I ask the same question every time. I get pretty much the same response. And then we get to the test and I find out it's more than half don't know how to round. They think they know how to round. They're kind of familiar with the rules and then they mess it up. I am brutal on my grading of rounding. Why?
Easy.
For the reason why is that half of you say you know what you're doing, you don't even need me to talk this. I will be brutal on how I grade this. No slack. You get it wrong, it's all 4 points done. Pay attention. This is easy stuff. Okay, so let's get this right. All right, rounding. Write this down, please, box 1. Write this down, please, box 1. Rounding means making, should say a number. It says making number. Making a number simpler, but keeping it close to the original number. That doesn't sound very mathy. Math is precise. Rounding is not precise. Rounding is math, but it's not precise. It's kind of close to the number. Why in the world would we do this? Why aren't we being precise in math? What do you think?
Because sometimes numbers like too long or like it's just like a bunch of decimals, and sometimes usually cut it so that way it's much more efficient.
In life, efficiency counts for a lot. You go to the grocery store, you only have $80 in your bank account to spend on groceries, and you got to do the math quick. You don't want to be sitting there trying to add decimal numbers and multiply decimal numbers in your head, or even with your cell phone, with a calculator. So you kind of round, which allows you to do the math of, hey, how much can I buy really quickly? Oh, I make about $160 a week in my job, right? How many weeks is it going to take me to buy a PlayStation 5? I mean, that's the kind of rounding that you do. 10, oh, yeah, if you buy it on eBay right now. That's the kind of rounding that you do. Here's another example. Hey, that's a pretty large, big number. I don't want to do add, subtract, or multiply and divide with that number. I also don't want to do add, subtract, multiply, or divide with that number either. However, both numbers are really close to
10,000.
how much? 100,000. So in my head, I can do the math with 100,000 very quickly. How long will it take me to get a million? Well, 10 periods, right? 10 times I get 100,000 is a million. I did that math very quickly and easily and efficiently, right? Rounding is not precise, right? It just makes the math easier. Yes? Okay. Go ahead. All right. It allows us to easily do math with rounded numbers, and it allows us to understand or to comprehend or to wrap your head around the numbers. Give me all this stuff. You're bothering me. Okay. You're supposed to be paying attention. Okay. Thank you. Okay. I am not going to be cruel to you and make you handwrite all the steps. The steps are in box 2. Right? I'm also not going to spend the time right now to read them to you individually. We're just going to do some examples. My belief is this is not your first year of rounding numbers. This is a last year. We don't get this class next year. This is a last year of acquainting ourselves of how do you round. Next year, we're just going to say round the number at times. We only round infrequently in math. In science, you round all the time. In math, we rarely round. Okay. All right, so place values. I said I was going to be mean and cruel and vicious when I grade. You've already written this down one time. The place values. You see the place values? Now I've listed both the whole number place values and the decimal whole values, all the way out to 100,000s, from millions S to 100,000s THS. If you don't have this memorized, you better have this on your resource card. The number one mistake in rounding is, I tell you to round to a number, you didn't even start in the right spot. How do you keep yourself from making that mistake? Well, if this is not memorized solidly in your head, then you need to have this written down somewhere. Who needs to copy this down? Does anyone want to admit that they need to copy this down? Then woe unto you come test day when you screw this up. You just right now said, what is he talking about? I know those. Well, we'll see. When I say round to the nearest tens, T-E-N's place, and you go to the tenths place, guess what happens? 0, no points. Right? Maybe you want to write this down. Right? Could you make this by yourself? Yeah, you could make this by yourself. But I'm going to say it a last time and I'll stop saying it. I will be vicious and cruel in grading. The number one mistake is I tell you to round to a number, you don't even start in the right spot. Okay, so here's an example. Follow along in box 2 with my steps. So here's a number. By the way, Malachi, what's that number? Anybody want to disagree? Because that's the right number. You will be told what to round it to, meaning every time you round, you'll be given instructions. Here are the instructions. So your first way to make a mistake is you don't read the instructions. It says round to the nearest 100. Does it say THS? No. It doesn't. So be careful. They are kind of similar. 100, hundredths. So it's asking us to count to or find the nearest 100 spot. Now they talk about this thing called a caret. A caret is an upside, a V turned sideways. A caret is this thing. Identify the significant digit. That's what you're rounding to, and use a caret. There's nothing special about a caret, but our book talks about carets, so I talk about it as well too. So, 100th place is right there. The 5 is in the 100th place. Yes? Yes. Any disagreement there? Yes.
I thought we said caret. I thought you meant much.
Yeah, no, it's spelled differently. All right, a caret, and you will also see this on your calculator. You will see this key on your calculator as well too. All right, so there is the 100 or the hundreds spot. In rounding, we never look to the left. We only look to the right. So I'm going to look to the right. What's the number to the right?
8.
It is an 8. We only look to the right. We never look to the left. So I look to the right and I identify that number. I don't care what place it is. I only care what is its value. A lot of math teachers have some saying. I don't have a fancy saying. But the basic idea is this. If this number, the blue number right there, is 5 or more, you go back to the number that your caret is indicating and you raise it by 1. If it's a 9, it becomes a 10. If it's a 0, it becomes a 1. In this case, it's a 5, it becomes a 6. If the blue number is 4 or less, you do nothing. You do nothing. So that is step 3. Step 3 says, I look at the blue number and I see if it's 5 or more. If it's 5 or more, I go back to the caret number and I increase it by 1. As long as the number isn't a 9, I usually don't see too many mistakes. As soon as a 9, I start seeing mistakes. I increase the caret number by 1, so now it's a 6. All of the numbers to the right of the caret number now become zeros. If it's a decimal number, you don't write the zeros. That's the second part of this. Erase the extra zeros for decimal numbers. You can write the extra zeros. We just would never do that in regular life. With whole numbers, you must have it. I don't know what's going on, but it better stop. Can we stop? All right. 32,600, and that's your answer. I didn't spell carrot wrong. That's the way it's spelled. Because we're not talking about the carrot that you eat. We're talking about the mathematical carrot. All right. Another example. What's the number?
12,355.
12,355. You will give instruction or be given instructions of what to round to. It says round to the nearest thousand. Does it say THS or does it say D?
D.
So it says a D. So this is how you can make your mistake. I go to my place value chart if you need to. Thousands are the number to the left of the comma. Well, that would be the 2. So I need a caret under 2. You can put a tick mark. That's fine. Book talks about caret. That's why I use this. I never look to the left. I only look to the right. What's the number to the right?
3.
3 ends up being, I'll call it my blue number. Right? Step 3 says, look at just the blue number. I don't care about the caret number. I care about the blue number. Is the blue number 5 or more?
No.
It is not. So when the blue number is not 5 or more, you do nothing. You don't change the caret number at all. It stays the same. I still continue, though, because the rest thing in step 4 says make everything else zeros. So I make everything else zeros. If it's a decimal number, I don't need to put in extra zeros. Okay? So the final answer, 12,000. Who has never been exposed to this before? Not a single hand in the class. Good, because you should have been exposed to this before. I see mistakes on this all the time. So you have to dig deep inside of you and say, well, why would I make a mistake? How could I make a mistake? The 2 mistakes, and there's really only 2. The first one is you literally identify the wrong number. The second mistake is you don't follow the rules. 5 or more, you go to the caret number, increase it by 1. The mistake I typically see is you see the blue number, right? If it's a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, I see kids increase that number by 1. We only increase the caret number by 1, or we leave it alone. In this case, we left it alone. All right, what about decimal numbers? Well, the rule is basically the same. All right, notice I have a decimal. So let's round to the nearest TENTH, 10. So I go to the 10th spot. Which number is that?
9.
That is the 9. Right? I would absolutely 100% either put a tick mark or a caret underneath that number. Some books, most of the time, in other books I've taught, they say have you underline that number. I'm okay with that as well, too. Our book just wants to put a caret. I look not to the left, I only look to the left.
Wait, what?
I said that backwards, didn't I? I don't look to the left, I only look to the right.
You said left to left.
Yeah. I only look to the right. I only look to the right. Is that number, the blue number, 5 or more?
Yes.
So I go back to the caret number and I do what? Well, 9 plus 1 is 10, so what must I do?
And
I have to carry it over to the next digit. Therefore, that 2 now becomes a,
3.
I'll say this again, when that number underneath the caret is a 9, and you're increasing it by 1, well, it becomes a 0, 10 technically. That means you need to go to the next place value and increase it by 1. Guess what math teachers love to do? They love to have a lot of 9s when we round. Why? Because it tells the math teacher immediately whether you know what you're doing. So it is not uncommon to have a number 99.9956 or something. So that no matter what digit I say to round to, you're increasing a whole lot of 9s by 1. So if I had a string of 9s, well, that one become 10, that one become 10, that one become 10, that one become 10, so on, as we march to the left. You understand the point I'm trying to make there? Have you seen problems like that before?
Yes.
Heck yeah, you are. That's why math teachers love that problem.
You love those problems?
I do, and I will put it on the test, guaranteed. It'll probably be something like 99.995, and I'll say round to the nearest tenth. The answer is going to be 100, right? Because you have to carry that one continually over. All right, we're over here. So this 9 becomes a 10, and the 2 becomes a,
3.
so therefore the answer is, well, it's 3.0. Now, when it's a decimal number, we don't need to have those extra zeros, so we erase it. The answer's, well, the answer is just plain old 3. Even though you saw me write, excuse me, even though you saw me write these zeros, we don't need them. All right, one more. Box 4, let's do this together. Box 4, let's do this together. Well, no, let's do box 4 together. This says round to the nearest 1,000. Does it say D or THS?
D.
So what digit is that?
You mean B, not
What? No, I said, is it a D or is it a THS?
D.
It's a D. So what digit am I rounding to?
1,000.
And which digit is that in the number?
2.
Put a caret under the 2. Put a caret under the 2. All right. Do we look to the left or we look to the right?
Right.
You always look to the right. So what number is to the right? Now you can't make your number blue, but I can. All right. You have to be able to do this. I don't know. For those of you that really want to get into this, get a highlighter. Highlight that number. That is the number that I'm not going to change, but I'm going to look at to determine if the caret number changes.
Yes.
Okay. So is it 5 or more?
Yeah.
We go back to the caret, and if it's 5 or more, we go back to the caret number and do what?
Add 1.
Add 1. Therefore, it becomes a
33.
becomes a 3. All right. What do we do with every other number now?
Make a
It becomes a 0. So the final answer is 33,000. Okay. Challenging or easy?
Easy.
I think this is pretty easy. No, we got to do the whole class. All right, box 5. Yes, I'm using the same number over and over and over again. All right, it says round to the nearest tens place. Tens place. So which digit is in the tens place?
5.
The 5 is not in the tens place.
It's 6.
It is not in 7. It is
6.
6. The 7 is in the ones. The 6 is in the tens place. As I stated before, you guys said you didn't need to write down your place values because you said you had them memorized. Please have that be true. If not, have it written down and force yourself to look at it. Okay, I see it. So what's the number to the right of the caret number?
7.
It is a 7. That is my blue number. Is 7 5 or more?
Yes.
So I go back to the caret number and I, it's not that you always increase the caret number by 1. It's just that only when the number to the right of the caret number is 5 or more, you increase it by 1. So that 6 now becomes a 7, and the blue now becomes a 0, and you're done. We better do a decimal number, yes? All right, so let's do a decimal number, box 6. A decimal number, box 6. All right, it says round to the nearest thousandth, TH, right? Which number is in the thousandths place?
3.
Well, if not, you're going to count tens, hundreds, thousands. I'm a math teacher, and I still will count my decimal numbers because there's no commas. They're hard to visually identify. So I put a caret underneath the 3 because the 3 is in the thousands place. I look to the not to the left, but I look to the right. So my blue number is now a 7. Is 7 5 or more?
Yes.
So I'm going to go back to the 3, and the 3 now becomes a, I increase it by 1, it becomes a 4. Now technically the next step is I add a 0. The blue number, blue and anything to the right becomes a 0, but it's a decimal number, so you get this one extra step of you don't need any extra zeros for decimal numbers. You need extra zeros for whole numbers, but not for decimal numbers, yes. Technically, no, right? I will circle it certainly, but I will not take points off, okay? It's just that that seems really inefficient to write extra numbers when they're not needed, okay? So the actual answer leaves off the zeros, only for decimal numbers, not for whole numbers. You leave off the zeros for a whole number, you are absolutely 100% wrong. Cool? All right. Box 7, we're going to run through these really quickly today. Box 7, round to the nearest hundredth, DTH. So therefore, I'm looking at what digit?
6.
I'm looking at the
6.
6. So caret underneath the 6. I look to the
Right.
right.
See 3.
The right, that's my blue number, now becomes a 3. Is 3 5 or more?
No,
It is not. So I do nothing. I don't change anything involving the caret number. The caret number stays a 6. I add my zeros from my other numbers, or since it's a decimal number, I don't add my zeros. It seems like a silly step to add zeros and then take them away, right? Yes? Doesn't it seem like it's silly to add zeros and then take them away? So don't do that. I'm just showing you what it would look like if you did add zeros. Ace.
On our paper it says 1,000.
For box 7?
6.
Well, I'm on box 7. We good now?
Yes.
Okay. So the final answer is 4 86/100ths. 4 86/100ths. Okay? Marching through these really quickly. All right, box 8, do these by yourself. Box 8, do these by yourself, and I am available for assistance if you need it. Okay, do you remember when I started off, I said on the instructions, what did I say? I said when you wrote down your homework, I said just round the numbers. Sorry, take it.
Me
It
too.
would be nice if we had little cots in here.
Yes.
We could all take a nap. Well, you can't.
We have like lounge chairs.
We had lounge chairs, all of you would be asleep.
No, Mr. Chartier. If we had like nice reclining chairs.
You'd all be asleep.
No, and here's the best part though. It has a little remote, so we keep all of our stuff at all times, you know, so we don't have to
And you
get
pressed a
up.
button, all of a sudden your math book came up out of the chair.
No, and what it does is
That
it
would
can
be
maneuver us
so
through all the other classes, and you have one too.
I don't need any.
Or they would have wheels on them and they would drive to
Exactly.
the next classroom.
No tracks.
That would
Tracks.
be cool. What?
It's like Wally.
Yeah.
It's like Wally, right. Yeah, everybody be fat, right.
No, I promise.
And there would be a machine that would put like chicken nuggets in your mouth. You know. We would be all fat.
As long as they're dino nuggets, it's okay. But they have to be dino.
Are you
Yeah.
6?
What?
Are you 6?
At Falcon Middle School, we have like explorer classes. And we had health. Well, I had health.
Just you, nobody else.
For no, other people had it.
Health
But
sucks.
I had it.
I heard about it.
Health did not suck. We Mr. George.
Get your point.
Yeah, we had a nap day. We literally had nap day.
Well, that's why you're now at this school. We don't take nap days at LTA.
But no, it was like because we were taking a sleeping section. So
You literally went to school to teach you how to nap. I'm gonna have to throw the yellow flag of not education on that.
Only like for 3 days we learned about sleep.
Yeah, what did you learn today? Well, I learned that if you close your eyes, you fall asleep.
No, I walked inside and I was messing around with my Rubik's Cube and all of a sudden it explodes and I was like, I've been telling you for a while, it's time for a no. And I'm like, are you gonna buy it? And she's like, no, you're buying it yourself.
All right, let's go over the 3 answers. In the back, first one, go. Final answer. 120. I can't hear what you said. 120. 120 is what he's claiming. So let's see. To the nearest tens place. The tens place would be the 2. That's the caret number. I look to the right, and it's a 4, so it's not 5 or more. So in fact, we do make that 4 into a 0, and he is correct. I just simply would get rid of all those extra zeros and say 120. Good job. Next, middle one. 125. How's that possible? It says to the nearest hundredths. The hundredths is a is a 9, yes? The first 9 or the second 9? Well, look to the right. What's that number? Is it 5 or more? It's not. So you would not change that 9 to a 10. It would stay the same. So the hundreds place is that second 9, not the first 9. Then the blue number, the number to the right, is less than 5. It's 2. So it's 124 and 99 hundredths.
I got it.
All right, well, there's our first person who made a mistake, right? I'm going to claim, and I do it every time I teach this class, you think you know what you're doing, people make mistakes on this all the time. All right, last one, go. Billy.
So I got, okay, so I'm kind of confused for the 9.
And my teachers love those 9s.
So do I change that to 10? Or
You do.
So then the answer would be 125?
It would be 125.
I flipped
When we go to the tens place, we look to the right, and it's another 9. Well, that would increase the original number, the caret number, by 1. That would make it a 10. That means you need to go one more decimal place to the left and increase that number by 5, or by 1, making it a 5, so therefore 125. Good job.
I got it wrong.
Say again?
So I said he got it wrong. I flipped it around.
Okay, so your mistake is identifying place value or what? Thank you for being honest there. I'm just going to say, I see this all the time.
You do?
Kids say they know how to round, and they can't find the right digit to start with, right? You need to find the right. It's worth taking an extra 5 seconds to read it again and make sure you're at the right starting point. Even if you, quote, quote, know how to round, if you start at the wrong number, you're going to get it wrong. Okay? All right, we got 3 more. We're done with this class. All right. Take a couple seconds to get these done. Last one. Well, then sit quietly. Wait for everyone else. Wait for everyone else to get finished. What? When we're done. Ace. Okay, please stop. Anyone need help? Which one are we doing? What's the significant digit, the caret number? It is. So look to the right. What's the number? Is that 5 or more? So what do we do with the 0? Turn into 1. Yes.
After that last one, so kind of confused.
Oh, the word units. Do you recognize that in any one of our place values? Like, do we literally have the word units? We don't. Math teachers love this. I don't know why we do this, but we do. The units place is the ones place.
Yeah, I saw that, and you put ones place on there.
I did to start off with, and I finished with that one, just so that we have that. Some math books strictly use units place. Some say to the ones place. Some will say to the nearest whole number. Those are all key words for round to the nearest ones place. Yes? Why is it called units place? That's literally where you start off. It's also, typically when I say what are the units, it's a word problem, and I say, what is it, centimeters, inches, kilograms, that sort of thing. That's also the ones place. Meters, liters, grams, right? Inches, pound, feet. We good? All right, Caitlin, first one on the left. She's in the other class. Why do I think she's in this class? Oh, because I had him first period for student advisement. That's why. All right, Malachi, first one.
So it's 38.
38 tenths is the answer. Yes?
Yeah. No. No.
38 hundredths is the answer. Yes?
No.
Walk us through it, Malachi. Step 1. What do you got to find? Where's the tenths place? Okay. Thank you for making that mistake. That's 2 people, right?
9 is not.
Do you need to have the units value, or say the place values written down somewhere? Malachi, you do. You do, so you don't make a silly mistake. Hey, the 3 is in what place, Malachi? Let him answer. Spell it for me.
TNS.
Perfect. The 8 is in the The 0 is in the, okay. Yeah, so this is why I'm saying you need to have this written down. The first decimal value is TENTHS. It's in the tenths place, which is, by the way, what we're asked to round to. So it's the 0 that the caret number goes to. Look to the right. What's the number? Is that 5 or more?
Yeah.
So the caret number goes up by and becomes. So the 0 goes up by 1. Increase 0 by 1. Okay, so it becomes a. Okay, why are you asking that in the form of a question? This is Jeopardy, right? No, you're right. It is 1, right? It's 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. The thing about in rounding, Ace, stop. The thing about rounding, we're always going to either be leaving alone or literally adding 1 to the number. The only time it's weird is if the number is 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. That's when we move over one more place. But when it's a 0, don't make it too complicated. Just 0 plus 1 is 1. Okay? So tell me what to write for final answer.
So,
And once again, you're playing Jeopardy, but yes, you were correct. You understand the Jeopardy thing I just said? Have you ever seen Jeopardy?
yes.
How much do you always answer the question? With a question. What is the capital of Egypt? You know, that sort of thing.
Egypt.
What is Egypt? You can't say Egypt, you get it wrong. Well, it's Cairo, right. I said Egypt, I meant Cairo. All right. Go ahead, Abby, middle one. 38 1/10. What happened to the 9? Yeah, this is the one the math teachers like. We make this number a 9. We look to the right, the caret number. To the right of the caret number, it's 5 or more. So that 9 goes up by 1. 9 plus 1 is 10. That means we need to go to one more place value to the left. That 0 now becomes a 1. It's the same answer. Math teachers also love to do this. Give you 3 problems that all 3 answers are exactly the same. Did I do that or did I not do that here?
You did not do that.
I did not do that here, but occasionally I will do that. All right, round to the nearest units place. Lily said, what the heck are units? And I said it's the ones place. Okay. All right, so let's see. The caret would go underneath the ones place, so the units place, which is an 8. We look to the right. The blue number is now a 0. That is clearly not 5 or more, so the final answer is
38.
and we are done.
Yay.
All right. For the people that did not look at their the instructions, it says for 17 through 24, you'll see it when you get the instructions. It says do a bunch of things. I don't want you to do a bunch of things. I want you to round the numbers. You'll see. It'll make sense when you open up your homework and look at it. Questions on anything we did today? Yes.
We do our math homework right now.
Yes, let's do our math homework right now. No, let's not do our math homework. Let's go to our period 2 class. Wow, I timed that perfectly. What do you know? All right, e-learners, if you have any questions, send me an email. If not, I will see you next week. Doesn't say skip 17. It says on 17 through 24, the instructions are going to have a part A and part B. I only want you to do rounding. See you, Josh.